Okay, cool. So Mercutio dies, and when the families find out, um, Mercutio, they say that they want Romeo put to death to kind of balance the scales, right? Um, complicatedly, right? Because he's like a Montague. He's kinsman to the Montague. Oh, I'm sorry, no, he's not kinsman. I'm sorry, take that back. Ignore that. I'm not gonna. Blah, 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 blah. Starting over. Um, so they want the families the families want Romeo killed for getting involved in this fight, because the prince said anybody who fights gets, we're gonna kick him out, and the families want Romeo. There's a debate about how much it's Romeo's fault, and the families want him out. But Romeo gets banished, not killed, but banished because of the complicated. You can see, by the way, the prince trying to stop the violence with non. The prince is trying to stop the violence because you can see it right here. I'm on page 16. Um, um, they say Romeo slew Tybalt, which is not quite true. But Romeo slew Tybalt. Oh, no, that is true. Sorry, Romeo does kill Tybalt. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live. And the prince says, Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio, who now doth price of his dear blood. Who now the price of his dear blood doth owe. That if Romeo killed Tybalt because Tybalt killed Mercutio, and now the families want them to kill Romeo for killing Tybalt for killing Mercutio. You see, it's like symbolically, you see the problem, which is that violence begets violence begets violence. Every dead person has to be revenged, and how do you revenge people? By killing them, at which point those family members want revenge, and it never, ever, ever stops. And Romeo tried to do what Jesus did, which is to kind of stop the violence. Um, I think I already talked about turn the other cheek in this class, so I think I won't do that again. But Romeo attempted nonviolence, and it didn't work. Mercutio got killed, and Romeo got angry, and Romeo killed Tybalt, and now Romeo is banished. Um, okay, cool. So what I want to look at, I'm going to move on to another scene now, which is Juliet um, in the next scene. Now, Juliet gives a speech that is absolutely incredible, on page 16. It's a lengthy speech, and it's wonderful. It's really Shakespeare at his best. Um, she is waiting for Romeo to come to her. They got secretly married during the day, and then Romeo met Tybalt, and he killed Tybalt. Juliet does not know that Tybalt is dead. But she's just waiting for Romeo. Now she's married Romeo, but they haven't actually had sex yet. Um, and so she is waiting for him to get there. And the speech is amazing. Now, the important thing to understand about the speech on page 16 that Juliet gives, um, is to compare it to the speeches that Romeo made earlier in the play. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Her eyes are like stars. Oh, she has a glove. I wish I was that glove so I could touch her face. Those are poetry cliches. That's the kind of thing in poetry and music that people in love say over and over and over and over again. The things that Juliet says in this scene are not like that. They are original. They are unusual. She says unusual things, um, because Juliet is an unusual person. Her love is not copied from textbooks. It's not copied from poems. It's not copied from old songs. By the way, I don't mean to suggest that Romeo doesn't really love her. He does. I think Romeo really does love her. It's just that he's not an original thinker. And so the metaphors for his love are all the metaphors everybody else uses. Romeo is the kind of guy who on Valentine's Day would give you a box of chocolates and a bunch of roses. Um, and you'd be like, oh, that's sweet, but it's not really very personal, right? That's like the standard Valentine's Day gift that people do on TV, is like, here's a dozen roses and a box of chocolates, happy Valentine's Day. Juliet is the person who would get you a present that was like really thoughtful, like she gave you an unusual present because she knew you would like it. So this is what you're going to see in the scene, is in Juliet's speech, which is a pretty incredible thing for Shakespeare to give her. Um, so let's take a look at it. Remember, Juliet does not know that Romeo has killed Tybalt. So she says, gallop apace, you fiery-footed steed, toward Phoebus's lodging, right? Phoebus is the sun god. So she says, she wants in mythology, Phoebus, the sun god, has like a chariot that carries the sun, and so she's saying, "Gallop faster, you horses that are carrying the sun," um, because she wants the sun to go down faster. She's wishing it were not daytime anymore. She wishes it were night. She says, such a wagoner as Phaeton would whip you to the west and bring cloudy night immediately. Phaeton is Phoebus' son in mythology. Um, Phaeton is like he's like a kid, and he's like, I can control. His dad carries the sun across the sky every day in mythology, and that's, sunrise to sunset. Phaeton is his kid. By the way, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Phaeton is his kid, and the kid's like, Dad, I can handle the horses. And the dad's like, I don't think you can. And he does it anyway. And he crashes the sun into Africa. And that's what causes the Sahara Desert in mythology. So she said, and so what Juliet is saying is, she's like, she's praying to the god of the sun, make your horses go faster so that sun will set. She says, maybe give the sun to your kid. He'd make it set really fast because he'd fucking crash it into the ground. This is a surprising thing for her to say, especially when you realize why she wants it to be night so bad. It's an interesting. She's impatient. Like Romeo is also impatient. The two of them are in a hurry. And again, I know a lot of you guys think it's ridiculous that they're in such a hurry and they get everybody killed, but even though they get everybody killed, maybe because they get everybody killed, I kind of like it. I kind of like how excited they are. So she says to him, spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink, and Romeo leap into these arms, untalked of and unseen. Right? So she's praying. She says she's praying for night to come so that Romeo can get to her bedroom unseen. What makes this amazing is that Juliet is a young girl, and she is a lot of love poetry of the type Romeo likes is a kind of like, you are my goddess, you are like the sunshine, I love you, you have stars in your eyes, you have a glove, I wish I was that glove that I would touch your face, you are my angel. He actually calls her an angel in the play. Juliet, the tradition in love poetry is for young men to talk about the woman they love like a magical goddess. What Juliet is doing is something else. Juliet says, I really want the sun to set. I hope the horses carry the sun go faster, and I hope that night comes quickly, because she's married, but she has not yet had sex. And these are not metaphors about how Romeo is this magical creature. She's excited to have sex. It's a scene that you don't often see, which is it is about women's pleasure during sex is something that is being highlighted here. She is excited about sex. She's excited about it, and it's something special because the men are often thinking about sex while they're calling the woman that they love angel and goddess. But Juliet is having a pretty honest talk with the audience about her desire to have sex in a culture where women's pleasure during sex was something that was often ignored. It was just something, it was the emphasis was on the man's role and male pleasure, and here we have a young woman just excited about sex, so much that she hopes that the night will come quick and bring Romeo to her. And it's kind of wonderful because it's unusual. That is not what love poetry at the time is not women writing about how hurry, hurry, get here. I'm so excited to have sex with you. That's not poetry. Is men saying, you are my angel, my goddess, the light in the sky, and Juliet's. She's real. Her love is real and it's spiritual, but it's also physical. She's a real three-dimensional person, and she's absolutely wonderful. Okay, pick it up in the next video.